In the Amazon, life and death unfold every hour of the day, where the struggle for survival is fierce but occasionally rewarding. Deep within lies an endless source of food, yet it also hides relentless competition for resources vital to staying alive. Instinct is the greatest ally in a place where danger may lurk behind any bush, stalking its prey. Competition is ruthless jaguars attacking caimans, anacondas swallowing deer whole, harpy eagles diving for howler monkeys, and piranhas stripping any wounded creature to the bone. This primeval world holds constant peril, with rain falling from the trees and giant roots forming natural traps for small mammals and reptiles, leaving them exposed. The rainforest never rests. Each dawn brings birdsong and the sound of stealthy hunters moving through the undergrowth. Heat and humidity are unending, along with the constant threat of ambush. In the darkest parts, where light barely pierces the canopy and the air hangs heavy, the jaguar moves silently, blending into shadow until the perfect moment to strike. Most of its day passes in watchful rest and patient pursuit, marking territory and searching for prey. Night brings only slight relief from the heat, and the jaguar emerges to hunt. Yet even as one of the continent's top predators, it faces danger, for the caiman shares its realm, ruling dark waters with silent patience. On land, however, the jaguar has the advantage, moving easily where the caiman grows clumsy. When they meet, the fight is swift, the jaguar stalking from cover, leaping, and crushing the reptile's skull in one bite. This precision makes it a vital regulator of balance, controlling herbivore populations and keeping the ecosystem healthy, allowing species to coexist in a thriving habitat. The jaguar moves with precision, adjusting its rhythm to remain unseen, preserving the subtle balance that keeps the jungle alive. Yet the Amazon's harmony is shaped not only by powerful predators but also by tiny creatures whose venom and camouflage play equally vital roles. In the rainforest's dim depths, where moisture seeps into every crevice and foliage blends with shadow, flashes of blue, red, and yellow dart among wet leaves, poison frogs whose bright skin warns of deadly power. Some species carry toxins so potent they can cause paralysis and death within minutes. At dawn, they hunt small insects and arthropods, converting their prey's chemicals into potent poisons. Despite their size, they navigate with precision, avoiding predators, snakes, and dangerous pools. Memorizing safe routes and shelter spots a rare trait among amphibians. Not all are equally lethal. Some even coexist with tarantulas in a fragile partnership. The frogs feed on tiny pests that could threaten the spider's eggs, while the tarantula's presence deters larger predators. In this unpredictable world, such unusual alliances allow survival. The forest's balance depends on countless small details, and conditions can shift in moments. One unique phenomenon is internal rain, where water collected on high leaves falls steadily even on clear days. A product of plants releasing vapor, this soft rainfall masks movement, letting animals approach unseen. Tapirs use the moisture to stay cool and avoid predators, while small reptiles remain active longer, exploring safely. Beneath the still surfaces of swamps and slow rivers, other hunters lie in wait, needing no camouflage among branches, ready to strike in the silence below. Anacondas, masters of their watery domain, remain almost fully submerged among sunken roots and drifting vegetation, showing only part of their massive bodies. They do not chase prey but wait, blending perfectly with their surroundings, hidden beneath the dim surface where ripples mask movement. When a thirsty animal ventures to the muddy edge, the snake strikes with a sudden surge, wrapping its coils tightly and dragging the victim underwater. Lacking venom or fangs for killing, it relies on sheer muscle power, adjusting its grip to the size of its prey until life is squeezed away and the struggle ends, masked by the steady patter of rain. In a world where every species adapts to survive, the anaconda's patient precision makes it a constant danger to any creature that lingers near the water's edge, reversing the balance of power beneath the surface. Yet not all predators claim the rivers. Some prowl the boundaries of the forest. On the jungle's fringes, where thickets thin into grassland, the maned wolf appears long-legged, slender, and solitary. It hunts medium-sized prey but shifts its diet with the seasons, taking rodents, birds, young tapirs, and even wild fruit. Unlike hunters that cling to shadow, it roams open ground, relying on sharp vision and tireless endurance. Moving alone, it stalks carefully, follows scent, and chases until the quarry is spent, trading speed for stamina. While its bite is weaker than that of larger canids, its persistence makes it a threat along the forest edge. But danger is not limited to land. Beneath murky waters glide red-bellied piranhas, small and unassuming. They can erupt into coordinated attacks when blood or sudden motion stirs their instincts, surrounding prey far larger than themselves. Adapted to slow currents, swamps, and backwaters, they hunt silently among roots and mud, feeding on insects, crustaceans, carrion, and fish, and at times even wounded capybaras or waterfowl. These predators are not reckless but calculated, striking only when they hold an advantage or when prey is weakened or injured. Though they rarely threaten land species, in extreme cases when a primate or other animal falls into the water exhausted or wounded, they close in without hesitation. triggered by thrashing limbs or the sudden plunge beneath the surface. The attack may not come instantly, but in an ecosystem where no opportunity is wasted, still water can erupt in seconds. Yet not all hunters remain submerged. Just beyond these same mist-covered banks, where roots grip the mud like clenched fists, another predator lurks: the ocelot. Medium-sized and elusive, this feline roams the forest's natural trails with flawless discretion. Unlike the powerful jaguar, it thrives in the lower canopy, where light is scarce and its mottled coat blends with shadowy foliage. This camouflage conceals it from both prey and larger predators. By day it rests in hollow logs, tree roots, or high branches, conserving energy in the humid heat. At dusk, with cooler air and shifting sounds, it hunts small mammals and arboreal rodents, relying on patience and precision rather than brute force. Agile among branches, it reaches prey few predators can. Heavy rains drive it higher, stalking sleeping birds and small primates in the canopy. Marking territory with scent, it avoids needless conflict and favors dense forest zones far from jaguars or caimans. Adaptable, it shifts from ground hunting in dry seasons to tree hunting during floods, remaining nearly invisible to most forest dwellers. Its role in controlling small populations keeps the ecosystem in balance, proving that even the most discreet predator is vital. Large snakes such as anacondas hidden in murky waters influence not only the species they consume but also others that adjust their habits to avoid them. Capybaras, natural prey of these reptiles, become more cautious and shift their routes, creating new migratory paths that in turn support other species relying on the same safe passages. Paths 4. In the presence of a predator creates a vigilant dynamic that organizes movement within the ecosystem, forcing animals to adapt and modify their behavior. Something similar happens with jaguars. Their hunting not only affects direct prey, such as deer or capybaras, but also regulates smaller species, keeping the population of minor animals in balance. In this way, the jaguar plays a crucial role as a regulator in the food pyramid, ensuring that herbivore populations do not grow out of control and exhaust plant resources. For their part, the insects and small animals that inhabit the Amazon, although mostly prey, also fulfill a balancing role. The tiniest creatures such as termites or flying insects, while hunted by birds and reptiles, help break down organic matter and maintain the nutrient cycle in the soil. This action promotes the growth of plants that in turn serve as a source of food for herbivores and other animals. Even the rivers with their murky waters represent a crucial meeting point for various species. Piranhas, quintessential predators, are not only a danger to animals that fall into the water, they also perform a cleaning function by removing the remains of dead animals and preventing aquatic ecosystems from becoming saturated with decomposing matter. Thus, although their attack may seem relentless, they actually play a vital role in maintaining order in their aquatic surroundings. The Amazon, then, is not merely a battlefield where predators and prey wage fierce struggles. It is also a deeply interconnected ecosystem where every species, regardless of its position in the food chain, plays an essential part of preserving natural balance. This intricate web of relationships, from fierce rivalries to hidden partnerships, keeps the forest thriving. In the heart of Amazonia, every predator, every prey, and even the smallest unseen inhabitant plays a role that extends beyond individual survival. Beneath the dense canopy, where light barely reaches and humidity saturates every corner, another danger advances in perfect unison. Army ants, hundreds of small bodies move as one, sweeping the ground in living waves that force insects, reptiles, and small mammals to flee to trees or water. The forest seems to pause before their relentless march, for these nomadic colonies never settle, always moving, driven by collective strength. Workers with powerful jaws form the front lines, seizing anything in their path, while larger soldiers guard the flanks and carve passages through dense vegetation. At the heart of the column, the queen remains hidden, shielded by layers of bodyguards, ensuring the colony's survival. They dismantle prey in minutes, from insects and arachnids to small amphibians and reptiles, their advance reshaping the movements of other animals. As they feed, they lay eggs in food-rich zones, so new larvae emerge directly onto the feast, devouring soft tissues, exposed muscles, and even eyes before moving on. Once the columns pass, displaced creatures reclaim the forest floor, though the threat is never gone. In a world of constant ambush, some creatures rely not on numbers but on singular defenses. The bombardier beetle, small and unassuming, wields one of the forest's most remarkable chemical weapons. When threatened, it releases a jet of boiling, irritating liquid at nearly 100 degrees Celsius, striking vulnerable spots like eyes and beaks. While not fatal to predators, the burning spray causes enough pain and confusion to end the attack, giving the beetle precious seconds to vanish into the undergrowth. The bombardier beetle's defense not only ensures its own survival but also shapes the habits of other species, which learn to avoid areas where these insects are likely to appear. In the Amazon rainforest, survival often depends not on size or strength, but on finely tuned adaptations that balance hunting and defense in one of the world's most demanding ecosystems. While fierce battles play out on the forest floor, the highest branches host another arena where the struggle for life is defined by keen eyesight, precision, and power. In the upper canopy, among the massive branches of century-old trees, lives the harpy eagle, a formidable and secretive predator. With steel-gray plumage, an upright crest, and enormous talons, it has perfected a method of hunting based on the sudden, decisive strike, using the canopy's structure to its advantage. It waits motionless until prey appears, then dives with astonishing accuracy, folding its wings at the last instant to seize victims like three-toed sloths, toucans, or macaws. These animals, trusting in the safety of their lofty perches, are taken in moments, their cries muffled by the foliage while the surrounding wildlife freezes in silence. The harpy carries its catch to a nest built high in a giant tree, where it raises a single chick for up to 2 years, providing constant care and food. Life for the harpy alternates between long periods of stillness and sudden bursts of predatory action, with hunting most frequent at dawn and dusk. Yet even in this aerial domain, nothing remains at rest for long. The forest is always moving, and in the same canopy lives another master of adaptation, the howler monkey. Famous for their calls that echo for kilometers, they use their deep voices not only to mark territory but to warn of danger and keep their groups connected in a world where dense foliage hides both ground and aerial threats. When an arboreal snake shifts through the foliage or the sound of a jaguar climbing echoes through the canopy, the howler monkey's deep calls erupt in unison, keeping the group united and sometimes deterring opportunistic predators. Adapted to life high above the forest floor, they possess long, strong limbs for gripping thick branches and a muscular prehensile tail that acts as a fifth limb, wrapping securely around trunks to support hanging or swinging. This extra limb grants stability and reduces the danger of falling, but their movements on the ground are slow and awkward. Though they prefer the safety of the canopy, food shortages or drought can drive them to descend, a decision that exposes them to jaguars, constrictors, and pumas. A lone young male, lured by fallen fruit, may venture to the ground, only to be spotted by a puma waiting in shadow. The hunter advances silently until a slight misstep gives it away, sending the monkey scrambling up the nearest trunk, where its climbing skills leave the predator behind. The group greets his return with a chorus of victorious howls. For the puma, the failure is only a moment in its patient pursuit. It melts back into the undergrowth, conserving energy for another chance. This feline is a cautious and methodical hunter, striking only when certain of success. Nearby, a herd of peccaries digs through damp soil for roots and fruit, their vigilance breaking in brief lapses. The puma seizes its moment, stalking a young straggler, using dry leaves and deep shadow for cover. With one explosive leap, it ends the hunt in seconds. Preferring solitude, it marks vast, secret territories that overlap with those of larger predators without conflict. Beyond hunting, it divides its time between watchful movement and rest, retreating to fallen trees or elevated ground during the heat of the day, its presence felt but rarely seen in the silent rhythm of the forest. Sheltering in tree trunks or rocky crevices where sunlight cannot reach, the puma rests in watchful stillness, its senses tuned to the faintest change in its aura. It patrols its territory in near silence, marking boundaries with scent and claw marks while avoiding unnecessary encounters, even with its own kind. When night brings cooler air, it prowls in search of prey, its night vision detecting movements invisible to others. Unlike social hunters, the puma moves alone, relying on stealth to approach without warning. Adaptable to varied habitats, it favors medium-sized prey but will target larger animals when opportunity demands, shifting its diet as seasons change. Its unmatched patience, ability to vanish into its surroundings, and instinct for perfect timing make it one of the most effective yet least seen predators in the Americas. When the dry season arrives, the Amazon changes quietly but profoundly. Broad rivers shrink into narrow channels, lagoons fragment into muddy pools, and the damp morning mist gives way to a dry, hazy heat. With water retreating, familiar pathways vanish, and species dependent on rivers for food or shelter must adapt. Jaguars, once rulers of wide banks, move deeper into the forest, where prey is scarce and competition fierce. Piranhas trapped in shrinking pools turn aggressive, while caimans endure in confined waters under the watch of circling birds and other scavengers. The puma, like many hunters, expands its range, venturing into new territories and competing at the last watering holes, where predators that once avoided each other now share space, risking confrontation. These reduced habitats become deadly traps for prey with nowhere to hide. In this tense landscape, even the most skilled hunters must act with speed and caution, for a single mistake can end a hunt or a life. Yet the drought's disruption is also renewal, removing the weakest and rewarding those that adapt, preserving the restless balance of one of the planet's most intricate and resilient ecosystems.